Hey y'all, so this is my recap of being at AWE. I just got back last night and we had a blast out there. So AWE is the Augmented World Expo. I have this image up first and I promise I'll get an actual video of the show floor in a minute. But this video is a quick snapshot of the talk that I gave on Unity's Asset Manager. Basically to summarize in the next 20 seconds and then we'll move on. The Asset Manager is a 3D cloud-based digital asset manager where you can upload anything from polygonal data, so polygons for games, game-ready asset, all the way out to CAD, BIM, and point cloud models and have them automatically converted for you into game-ready assets. So let's go ahead and jump out to the show floor. This is just one of the first views that you see as you walk in from the entrance. So you have Qualcomm over here showing off a lot of headsets powered by their chips. You have Sony right next to that showing off a few new screens, some headset experiences. Here's even a company that had their robot walking around throughout the day that was very cool. And here's the Xreal booth as well with their glasses, their AR solution. Here we have some Think Reality, Lenovo solutions. Pico was right next to the Unity booth, so we got to see a lot of what they're offering. Here's another snapshot of what some of those robots are offering, as well as some VR content creators right next to the Unity booth. So now that we're over here at the Unity booth, let's talk about two things. Because I already explained Asset Manager, I won't go into that too deep. But what I do want to talk about are the other two experiences that we had. So we had the Apple Vision Pro, where we had 5 or 4 different experiences that you could dive in and experience that mixed reality environment. Then we had our web GPU demonstration. So what you're seeing on the 2 laptops below are both running in web in a browser at very high fidelity, where you can either engage with a training sample of assembling a robot or watch as robots kind of simulate their way around the environment and understand where they're going next. What I want to show off next on the show floor are some other cool things that I saw, which were some locomotion solutions here. They had Omniverse and others. And then this booth was interesting in that they were doing a talk on AI and their tool to be able to describe the ingredients of a dish within the native language of the user and understanding what's on the plate in front of you. So kind of a utilitarian quality of life tool that they're building as well. And there were a lot of really interesting, innovative solutions, not dissimilar from this, using eye tracking and other pieces. What we can show next is some of the Samsung booths. So this was looking at their OLED and their QD-OLED screens, seeing what those look like and getting a really nice immersive experience here within their very well-lit booth. Right here across the aisle from them, we had a glove company that I had not heard of before with a nice lightweight glove solution. And then as we keep walking through here, we're even seeing folks that are selling transportation technology for headsets and other content like that. We then had the gaming hub at the very back corner. So within the gaming hub, you could kind of walk around and see what a lot of different developers had created. We'll try to get in there in just a bit if we can. So here are some examples from the other side of the trade show floor. This is Reality Hack, which was doing kind of an all-day conference in the back of interviews and conversations. Here's an interesting booth where folks have on headsets with some locomotion. And then as we walk back further, we start to see some of the more locomotion-based pieces. The VR booth right here is a skydiving experience. And then this one over here is kind of a haunted house walkthrough in VR. And as we continue to walk around, this one definitely intrigued me the most. So I kind of hung out and watched a bit of their video advertisement happening on the side here. But effectively, they strap you into this thing that's almost like an inverted back stretcher machine. And then they can invert your center of gravity as they choose on that pivot so that you can go upside down or right side up. And this is either skydiving or bungee jumping or one of the two. So it was really an intriguing experience. Here was an interesting device that I saw that was just a new way of giving input to your interactive scenes. A lot of really cool stuff in the haptics and peripherals space. And then as we continue to walk around, here's Infinideck. That was the item that I saw that they were still kind of working on when I came by, so I didn't get to see it in motion, but that would have been pretty cool. Here are some virtual reality enabled arcade machines. I thought that was pretty cool. And then as we continue to walk around, we see some deployment platforms for XR innovators. This was a really cool 3D screen, if you will, almost hologram-esque, where it had an inverted sphere at the back. And in front of that, you can see nice little baby Groot dancing. So that was pretty cool to stop and take a look at in person. Some other providers like Campfire that do CAD visualization and headset. Some headset solutions here. And as we're walking around, here's the Seoul XR Pavilion. That's always cool to look at and see what they have going on. There's Forge Effects that we just passed that does simulation inside of headset for industries like aerospace. And then as we continue around here, we can see a few more locomotion solutions. And we're wrapping back around to the Unity booth, just passing Arbor XR, Pico, and a few others again. So one of the last things I'll show here is us just walking up through one of the central aisles that we hadn't covered previously. And a lot of this is looking at visualization of industrial parts. It was really interesting to see, as I felt like there was more of a games focus last year, and I feel like people are really embracing the industrial adoption of XR and how it makes a lot of sense in that context. And then this was up in the front of the show floor. We saw a lot of the new entity, which is Niantic Spatial, which has rolled out separately from Niantic itself, all about spatial compute, spatial visualization, scanning, things of that nature. And so this was up in the very front. There was also a nice large presence from Snapchat upstairs with some of its new headset or glasses, you could even call them, but not as much photography was happening up there. I hope this gives you a pretty good overview of the event. I had a blast. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'm really glad I get to bring you this video to show you a few of the highlights. Have a great day. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.